Airbnb has released a brand new feature called Flexible Destinations. It's a brand new way for travelers to use Airbnb. This is just about giving you inspirations on where to go. If you think about it, usually most people would use Airbnb when they're quite ready to travel. They will enter location, check-in date, check-out date, number of guests, and hit search. Here, this is not what this is about. This new feature is more for people who are way early in their trip journey. These people actually are not even sure where to go. So this is where the I'm flexible option comes into play. And this is actually the one of the three new ways of searching that Airbnb has introduced on this platform. We have two other videos, one about flexible dates and flexible matching, that you should be watching to see what this is about. I'm flexible basically is about giving inspiration to travelers. What Airbnb wants is to help people in their dreaming phase of their trip journey. It's about also helping them discover that Airbnb is not just about booking a place, booking a small apartment in a city for an urban getaway. Now, right, that's what most people were using Airbnb for before the pandemic, right? To stay in a city with their partner for just like a weekend, 2 or 3 days. Here, Airbnb is making sure that you discover that they have all kind of new categories that you maybe not have thought about, such as tree houses, boats, yurts, islands. So the idea here is to help you, dream, discover new places, but it's also about making you understand that Airbnb is not just about urban stays, that Airbnb is more than this nowadays. And it's very important with the pandemic, right? People want to escape. And even if in the end they're going to go on Airbnb and, further down after they're searching, they're going to book just an apartment or something quite ordinary, Airbnb wants people to see these extraordinary options so they remember it. So again, it's really something Airbnb is doing to change its brand perception, right? It's a brand perception exercise. So that's also very important for Airbnb. What we're going to see now is the tech side of it. On the tech side, depending on where you are, the categories you see here are changing, right? Depending on where you're searching for, if you try it out yourself, you're going to see that these categories are going to change. So according to your location, Airbnb is showing you the property types that make the most sense, that you're most likely to book. Here, I'm in the northeast of the US, so I'm seeing things like tree houses, beachfront places, boats, tiny homes. If I were in Spain or in France, for example, I would see categories like castles, for example. The second feed here, you'll see it if you hit the show map option. So show map option is here, right? And it's really what you have to use to make the most of this tool, because the show map option is quite a technical feat. Basically, depending on the property type you're hitting, like here I just clicked on tree houses here, I'm seeing options, I'm seeing destinations that are not too far from New York State, but are places where I could think about for tree houses. Maybe it's within driving distance. Like, okay, I didn't think of maybe going to Montreal or the Montreal area to stay in a tree house. Why not? Yeah, I was only thinking about these areas. And if you're hitting a different category, property type, like let's say beachfront here, you can see the map is changing. Again, I'm seeing, makes sense, options by the sea. So, and same thing if I'm changing categories, right? If I want a place in a desert, for example, it's going to show me option in New Mexico. So it's quite, think about it, right? It's really about destinations. It's true. It's just like, okay, you're dreaming about a tree house, you're dreaming about a boat, a tiny home. Let me show you where these options are available. And Airbnb, probably doesn't have an infinite supply of, let's say, tree houses just around the corner, right? So the Airbnb needs to adapt where it's searching for options, right? Airbnb does not want you to believe or to think that they have no supply for these specific property types, right? They're very unique, but for some of them, and they're very unique, very friendly. That's what Airbnb promotes in its press releases. But they're not maybe not so many. So that's also why Airbnb wants you to discover new places, because these unique places may be hiding somewhere you didn't think of. So it's a service to you as a guest, but also helping Airbnb not show you an empty list of properties if, say, you're looking for a tiny home in a place where they have none. So it's also solving a supply issue that Airbnb has. Last thing, as you can see, Airbnb is really taking a lot of real estate space on their website for this, right? I'm flexible here, it's a whole page. But even in a search engine, right? In a search engine, if I'm clicking here, the I'm flexible for location is taking a lot of space. They really want us to discover this new way of using Airbnb. And that's pretty bold, right? Not a lot of websites would sacrifice space on their website to show things that are not going to convert immediately. Most other travel websites will cram their homepage with options that they're sure you're going to book. Here, no. Airbnb wants you to discover this new tool so that you can start using it, so that you know about it. So it's about adoption in a way, awareness and option, so that you're aware they have other things. Also, they want you to change the idea that you have about Airbnb. Airbnb is also about countryside, nature, or quirky places, not just urban apartments. So it's also a branding exercise, an awareness exercise for their properties, which is very important as Airbnb is now stretching its brand. Check out our 2 other videos about flexible dates and flexible matching to discover new ways that Airbnb has to make sure that people do not leave the website empty-handed and book more.